This is the best country in the world. Within, I think, probably about 5 years, if you played your cards right, you can become a top 1% property investor in this country.
Equal opportunity.
There we go. Level playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what your family's last name is.
My mum grew up here. It's village in the north. There is no infrastructure. There's no roads. I can't imagine that being my world.
If you had a strategy, what's stopping you from taking action and moving forward as well?
People are looking for excuses a lot of the time to do something.
No one's happy with one and done. The only way to win this game is to build out a decent portfolio.
You're forever chasing the next thing.
When will it ever be enough? If you're not pushing hard enough for 2026, I want you to have a real think about why not. Yeah, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Australian Property Investment Podcast. This is going to be our final episode for 2025. I can't believe it. It's a bit of a pinch me moment that we got to the end of the year.
We got to the end of the
a lot. We are. We'll run the fumes at the moment as we head into the Christmas period. Everyone's coming into contact with us at the moment knows that it's bonkers from a lending perspective as we round out the year. Won't surprise us that we've got a busy end to the year. I think we kind of saw it coming, but everyone knows we're in the whirlwind. It still catches us
always.
God. Well,
I think this close to Christmas, yeah, you think, oh, maybe this year will be different a little bit. There's
And we say that being the founding people of Trillium Wealth. And I'm really excited when I have Bernadette, obviously my wife, life business partner, right hand, followed by Damien Walker, who you guys will know, my brother-in-law, so Bernadette's brother, been with us from like very much the start as well. So when we get the trio back together, we've got a far cry from us sitting outside Australia Square having lunch, breakfast.
$14 bento boxes.
Because
they're really good. Shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we look back and we see the team that are here and what it's taken to build the business to really value a really great troop of people, and we see and where it's kind of taken us. And you think about where our business will be next year, turning 10. I think it's a journey like that. You think about the power of hindsight and what that's meant for us. You just go, trust the process.
Yeah.
Lock in for 10 years and you'll bear the rewards of planting those seeds nice and early as well.
Yep.
I think one of the big things that I've done in prep for today is share a little about kind of my ethos of that. So mine, I want to get yours as well. But I want to start with one of my big ethoses, which is this is the best country in the world. Yeah. And I say that consistently, and let me tell you why. But family comes from Sri Lanka. And recently we as a family, so Bernie and our two daughters, traveled across to Hong Kong. We've traveled a fair bit. And everywhere I go, I think, could I have raised my family here and have every opportunity that Australia has afforded to me, myself, my family? Absolutely not. You take the healthcare, you take the schooling, you take the civil rights and liberties that we have, for example, you take the food standards that we have, you take the ability to start a business from scratch, and here we are with no limitations, no restriction on what we can achieve. Yes, there is a high cost of living, but there is a high standard of living that comes with being this fantastic country. And the fact that you can go in with, I think probably about 5 years, if you played your cards right, you can become a top 1% property investor in this country. I just want that to sit there and go, this country is amazing.
Yeah. Equal opportunity. Right.
There we go. Level playing field.
Yep.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what your family's last name is. I could never have these opportunities. I was born in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Never. And a lot of people when we deal with people from different backgrounds, they're like, yeah, they make so much of this opportunity because they know their home countries, they never had these luxuries afforded to them. Like, you think that just the house that we live in, going to Hong Kong, I was like, man, these are shoeboxes that people are living as family, let alone as what we have as a freestanding home. It's backyard. The weather in this country is something else. Like our winter, you don't even wear a bloody jumper sometimes. Now, I think if you're wrestling with the house prices in this country, I want to challenge you and go, have you traveled to a third world country to actually let it sink in about how truly privileged and lucky we are as well?
I mean, this is, I felt this probably more, less so in Hong Kong, but more when I went back to Fiji as a family a few years ago. And we traveled to my mum's hometown, which is not idyllic, oceanside resort. It's village in the north, and it's very remote. There is no infrastructure. There's no roads. There's you're lucky if you can get into the town, and then there's a school. There's a couple of shops. That's it. And I often have this moment. I can't quite connect. My mum grew up here and she's here now, has been for a number of years. And I can't imagine living there. I can't imagine that being my world because we knew nothing like that.
No, not at all. Yeah.
And absolutely right about opportunity.
Mm.
And my mum came to this country as a migrant. Dad was Aussie, been here, his family been here for generations. And yeah, how is it that, we were both fairly bright, so I studied at school. Some other people should other
They didn't show us, yes. I think you
study, finish school, and through determination, working hard, has enabled us to be where we are now. It's a real privilege.
I our parents didn't have finance backgrounds.
They didn't have finance backgrounds.
and blue collar, in fact, all our blue collar as our upbringings as both families.
Yeah.
Right.
But there was this, for us, and I know it was the same with your mum, there was this real emphasis on education, though, on educating yourself. And for them, that form took, it was high school and then uni. But then just that emphasis of education for me, I think is carried through into like that personal improvement, that personal development, that self-accountability, because education doesn't stop when school or uni stops. And I think that's where I was listening to Jim Rohn this morning. It's like, if we kept people to an account of like we do our school kids, like, you can't go to year 4 and spend 4 years in year 4. Like, there are circumstances where you may have to repeat, but typically everyone meets those milestones and gets to that next stage. If we held everyone to that same account when they got to their 30s, like, hey, all right, have you made that investment? Have you made that commitment to yourself? We would see that real growth.
Yeah, and it's probably where the disciplined will survive and thrive, and ones that lack the discipline get stuck in the wilderness a little bit, and then they may find their way eventually. But it's taken years to get there, they're probably repeated same mistakes year on year, versus ones that have course corrected very quickly. We see that again time to time with our clients. How many times then you'll get a strategy of people that reached out 4 years ago, want to pick this back up, and you're like, you sat on the market for 4 years, and the only that's happened is property prices have significantly increased. You've now got to backpedal, and we're not here to fearmonger. We're here to just to say, look, if you have the strategy, what's stopping you from taking action and moving forward as well? There's how do we unblock that for someone as well?
Yeah, people are looking for excuses a lot of the time not to do something. I just talked to a client who a couple of years ago went to get the loan strategy, had a bit of a bad experience with a broker, put it on ice. Then they're back in, we'll help them out. It's going to be straight into the market. But you're right. What would that have been like? What would that property value be like if you bought 2 or 3 years ago? Like, what wealth could you have created if just a broker gave you some bad advice? Why didn't you go seek another broker?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the resilience to go, things are going to happen to me and they're not going to be pleasant, but I'll still move through and find a solution. That's the mentality a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
To be very honest. Yeah.
And particularly when, the market saturation for lending is brokers dominant.
Yeah.
So generally everyone, when we first started, it was us versus the banks, the branches. Yeah. The branch trying to steal the customers. Now it's a war between brokers because market penetration is so strong. Like 80% of all lending is done through mortgage brokers. So the predominant rise of mortgage brokers means now we're going further towards industry peers. And now it's a race to who's got the better strategic advice, who's got the better team to deliver that advice, who's got the ability to turn that around very quickly, relationships with banks, as opposed to one broker isn't 23,000 brokers. So if you get a bad experience, do not let that stop you. And if that's the case, don't blame the broker. Unfortunately, it'll be a bit of an uppercut.
It's a little bit of blame we can give, but if someone just
If you Google it, that's where you find it. GPT recommending bloody us at the moment, Get on GPT and find some red hot brokers. So don't stop. And I think that's probably almost a testament to character going, one no is not a firm no. It's just that person's no. Keep going, knocking on doors. And it's a bit like dating. One bad experience does not stop you from finding the one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, my advice to people is always like, they speak to me, I'm like, speak to other brokers as well. Look, find who fits with you.
And that's the thing. I think more than anything, working with a broker, it's a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And if because hopefully, what I hope is that people come to us and then they're with us for life. Like we've got some clients who have now recommended their children to us, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, is that how far we've come? They're in this business, and to me, that's the ethos, and that's what we're trying to build here. It's like that you come to us and it's for life. So you have to connect with that person. So you might not like, the ways one person communicates, you might like a different style. Keep going until you find that connection, because hopefully if they're a good broker, you've got that connection. This is someone you can stay with for at least the foreseeable future.
Yeah, correct. Thanks so much. So yeah, in terms of the flavor of today's chat, we're going to kind of go through a bit of reflection, personal reflections, and our journeys that we're embarking on to then show up to be the best that we can for you guys that are listening and tuning and being clients as well. So we'll touch on mindset. I will touch on strategic mortgage broking and actually what I mean by that. So dig deeper on that, and then we will round out with going through what I say is 2026 predictions and going through. I'm gonna try and hit you guys up with some market thoughts as well.
Cool.
One thing that when we took our team away for our conference and our offsite this year, I put this slide up, and I hope you guys can see that. I will try and drop that into the comments as well. And it was really me redefining wealth, because I think obviously wealth is a few percent of our brand name, Tilly along. And I think for us was very close to people buying in the property space, like transacting, building wealth through property, which is fantastic. And I think as me being a parent, and even just goes through his next phase in my own life, being in my 40s now, which was maybe redefining how I saw wealth, or how I saw people as wealthy. And typically it would be like material possessions, real estate. Yeah. Mate, correct. And then when I started to really dig below the surface, and I think it's probably a lot of the work that I've had to do on myself personally, which is what are my values, what I truly stand for as well. And I'll just shoot through a couple of these that I put to my team, or our team, around where I see wealth actually sitting. One, it's around health. And it's probably number one thing, what they say, when you're unhealthy, you only have one problem.
So I think the saying is, you've got 99 problems until you're unwell.
Yeah.
And then you've got one.
There we go. Thank you, Bernie. Perfect. I'd say
Jay-Z song, is that right? No.
It had to be a Jay-Z reference to be somewhere through the year. I'd say equality in a sanctum, quality friends is in there. So a healthy body, so they would train positive mindset as well. Sleep. I think sleep has become the new flex in terms of health. Being able to do things that light you up, like reading books, downtime, travel as well, experiences, enjoyment, contentment, gratitude sit in there as well. And then I think as part of that, when you build that into your real life, you go, what do I truly stand for? So to me, if you're listening and going, well, what does this bloke stand for? They're my definitions of wealth. And if you can dial into that, have great relationships, I think a lot of the rest takes care of itself as well. And I think for us, even ARC, Bernie, you just took yours off. But one thing, the big investment that I think we've all made is, some of our wearables, which is the Whoop that we use.
Yeah.
I think it tracks it. Some people don't love it. It doesn't have to be a Whoop, Apple Watch, whatever it's going to be. Some way that you dial into, what's going on body-wise. My best mate ran did bloods the other day. And I think you got to find a way to stop and actually go, okay, well, my body's telling me something as well. And I think that's something that we've all really dialed into. So, Dan, I'm very curious to go, if you were pinned up and you said, what's some of your ethoses or your values? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I've been reflecting on at the moment is time. Yeah, it's all good to have lots of money, but if you don't have time, then what's it really worth? For us at the moment, is probably why I'm reflecting on it, because time is my free time at the moment, Monday to Friday, seems to be yes, shrinking especially leading into Christmas. But when you do have that time to spend with your family, your friends, those are the moments that really count. Yeah. So for me, time is a big one. Like, sure, money's all good, but you need to have the time to spend it or whatever you want to do with it. Yeah. Good.
Being
Big one always for me has been having that sense of gratitude and contentedness. That's really important because, I mean, as we progress through our journey of, starting a business, no clients, no revenue, growing, building, every step, not being parents, renting, or having a mortgage, renovate. Like we've done so many iterations of life, and in every season or every iteration, there's always a challenge that will pop up or challenges. And then if you're not coming from a sense of, but I'm content and I'm grateful with what I have, it doesn't mean anything because you'll achieve that thing and then
You're forever chasing.
you're forever chasing the next thing. So if you're in that season and you're like, oh, this is a challenge, I'll be happy once it's finished. I'll be happy when my home's renovated. I'll be happy when I've paid off my house. No, because you get there and then our brain, the way it works is it will adjust. It will take 6 months, 1 year, 2, 3 years, but then we'll adjust and we'll start looking for the next thing. So I think I always like to say we can always be from a place of content and gratitude while still aiming for that North Star or that vision that we have. It's the perfect sort of here and here. It's where to be.
is probably what I need you in my life because I'm always like the next thing and the next thing. And I think you and Damien have built that for quite some time. And I think if you're listening, there's a very healthy balance between ambition and contentment. I think it's very hard to toe the line sometimes because you can pull your kilter a little bit. And I think anyone that's listening to this podcast is obviously keen and ambitious. They're investing in themselves. You're taking the time every day to go, I want to get better. I want to buy more property. I want to move the needle. And then I think sometimes where the conversation has come is, one, do we even stop and celebrate the wins? And that's something that we've tried to get better at. The next line for Dane is, but when will it ever be enough? Yeah, that's something that we've even had a chat about, which is where's that ceiling of contentment.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with your ambitions, making sure that they're aligned with your values. There's nothing wrong with having ambitions and striving. Of course, looking back and having gratitude as well. But just reflecting on making sure that what you are striving for are your values and not someone else's. And I think that gets lost a lot of the time. People don't stop and think, wait, why am I chasing this promotion? Why am I chasing this car? Do I actually want it, or has someone told me that's what I should want? And I think that's when people get to the end and they go, oh, wait, did I actually want that?
Or there's an emptiness, or there's
You're doing it for your family, you're doing it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Sitting there and going, what do I actually want?
There is collateral damage that comes sometimes with chasing and pushing hard as well. Again, we'll see it. And that's probably that feeds into my next point, which is keeping that in check and having some awareness around it as well. We have all invested very heavily into personal coaching this year. I'd say between the three of us, a lot of our team. As we speak, tomorrow's our quarterly team day. So that's something that, we're being very focused on. It's something that we've done, very consistently as well. We put tools down, even though we can't afford to time-wise. It's madness in the middle of it all. I'm like, I still down. We need a half day. I was thinking about it yesterday, actually. I'm like, I'd start there.
Before the equipment's on it, I literally thought of that. Then I heard Aaron say in my mind, there will never be time. So you've got to do it.
And Andrew, one of the quotes I should share with the team tomorrow is, the best time to fix the roof is when the sun is shining.
Good one.
Good one. We've got a roof leak here, and it would be great if it could get fixed.
Correct. Yep.
Today.
So yeah, you take the metaphor literally, or you take it figuratively. But same thing. It's like we don't wait for things to hit the fan before we start to fix it. Things are going so well. We now know as a team what we doubled down on as well going into the next year. And for yourself, I know if you listen to this and you probably listen to this on 1.5, 2 speed, there again is like case in point going, but when do we actually slow down? When do we take the time? And this is why I wanted to have this episode towards the tail end of the year to go, this is the perfect time to be winding down mentally, to do some planning for 2026. Bernie will do an episode around the vision board for 2026 and what's actually going on that vision board too. But that's something that we're doing with our team, because I tell you, as a people leader in this business, the only way I'm going to get truly great performance out of our team is when the off-field and the home life is dialed in.
Yeah.
And I've known that by managing enough team members that, one, have come and gone, and two, they've stayed the course and succeeded, to go, I can't squeeze any more juice. I can't pay any more, for example, unless they're really, really dialed into the mission and feel valued, to then go the way that they show up. Their home life is sorted. They're kicking goals personally, professionally, and now kind of work is the icing on the cake. Yeah. So I'd say to you, if something that you feel like you've neglected is your own personal accountability, got to get a coach. You absolutely need a coach. You need to hook into some type of mentorship, some type of one-on-one coaching, for example.
Accountability group accountability, Yuri.
I mean, if you think you can't afford it, just think what that drift of 1 year will cost you, as opposed to what will it gain you. And I will always count my personal coaching as my insurance policy. I look at it as a personal insurance. It keeps me from not going back to bad habits. It keeps me out of bad mindsets. For example, the way that I show up, language, body language, everything goes in. Even if I'm just aware of it and I can't course correct quickly enough, at least I've caught myself in the loop before it gets out of control. Definitely. Yeah. I think to your point, Damien, community is probably another really good part. I keep banging on about the property accelerator, but this is the feedback we get. People love it because they're just around other people that are going a similar journey. They want to buy more properties, and they don't want to feel vilified for it by friends and family that they've cost someone else's dream by buying one more investment property. They're actually being celebrated for it as well, and that's something that you want to be part of. I'm telling you, reach out, because I've got some really good plans for 2026 for our investor community to kind of just go up a gear as well. Because I think I've been a little bit lax on it this year, just going the build phase. But next year, I'm not shooting for quantity. I'm just shooting for quality people that actually go, hey, I want to move the needle. Awesome. The next part I want to talk about is strategic mortgage broking. And this is a term that I'm really effectively trying to own in the market. When we think about how we go about building out a scenario, Damien, I say it's because, very much we're the two brokers in this business. I don't shoot for more brokers. I'm not trying to dilute the brand by having 10 brokers, 2 highly dialed in mortgage brokers, so have great support teams. So we're doing the strategy. The way I break it down is there's a structure. Okay, what are we trying to do for someone? I then look at solver. What problem are we truly trying to solve for someone as well? Then we break out the strategy and go, okay, what are they trying to achieve? Not only for this one, but be 3 or 4 steps ahead of where they would like to be. And then we go into the selection of choosing lenders and the way to move forward. I think typically, and again, this is not pot shots, but from our own observation, I see it go around the other way when people automatically go, no, we're going to go to CBA. A broker will go, no, we have to go to this lender. And so, mate, that wouldn't work with that bank.
Yeah.
You'd square peg round hole from a structure, serviceability, policy perspective, and you're trying to jam this in with the bank, they're just going to say no. And we're so slow to diagnose where to go because everything else takes precedence. What are you trying to achieve? What's the policy that we need to follow for your scenario? Are you self-employed? Do you have 5 properties already? Are we trying to strip equity? Do you have an LMI waiver? So much is going into actually understanding you, the person, and what the goals and ambitions are, as opposed to, I just want to work with this bank and
Get the loss rate.
make great and trying to sell a product.
Yeah. A really good example I always use with clients is there's a lender with great LMI, investment interest only rates, like really good. So you go for a 12% deposit, you pay LMI, and you get the lowest rate on the market. That lender won't let you strip equity when you remain in the LMI space.
Yeah.
So you can purchase it, but if you want to get equity from the property, you have to wait until the loan and the future equity will sit at an 80% LVR. A lot of our investors don't want to wait that long. That's a fair bit of time. They just want to strip equity again and top up that LMI fee. So if you go to that lender and we sort of talk about the long-term goal, which is, I want to get 2 or 3 properties. So yeah, what's the longer-term goal? Yeah, more than one. How are we going to do it? Through equity. If we just chase the lowest rate, you won't be getting that second property until maybe 2-3 years down the track. Or we'll have to refinance and pay LMI again. So you saved on the rate for a little bit of time, but you've gone and paid an extra 10 grand in LMI with a different bank just so you can go get your equity a little bit sooner. So putting that rate first, that's not the outcome. Like, rate is the last part of the conversation, and it's the last part of our loan strategies. It's about the structure, and it's about thinking, where do we want to get to after this property, and then build it from there.
And I think what happens is because we're so close to it. I mean, I think they say that everyone's got a reading ability, a year 5 child or something. So I guess like,
Yeah, I think that they say 13 to 14.
okay,
Reading draws up. So typically most books that you read, things that you see are written at the level of a 13 or 14-year-old. So someone in
I guess they're trying to simplify it, right? And I think sometimes to our own detriment, we come up with this U-boot loan strategy. Bang, he's got to buy the next 3 or 4 best ones, bang, stacked it up. And the client's like, mate, this is, I don't know what to make of this, or this is a bit intense. And sometimes we're even guilty of like lacking that emotional intelligence because it's a little bit overwhelming sometimes. For some people,
Yes.
others eat it for breakfast and like, this is the best thing ever. Let's rock and roll. But if someone is being open and saying to your broker, us, hey mate, here's what my ambitions are. Let's get to 2 or revisit it. But from our experience, having done this for nearly a decade in this business, is to go, no one's happy with one and done. No investor has said, I just want one investment property and I'm done. They're all looking to scale up at some point because they know the only way to win this game is to build out a decent portfolio, go through an acquisition phase, consolidation phase, maybe sell down strategically some assets, clear a little bit of debt. At that point, they can go again, or they can just go, hey, I've achieved my net passive goal. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think for us, what I'm also looking under the hood of what I call strategic mortgage broking here is, I call it reading the play. So reading the play means we can see the writing on the wall. And I'll give you a very good example. Every broker on bloody LinkedIn, as soon as Macquarie Bank came out with trust lending, became an authority on trust lending, right? As soon as we saw that comms, the conversation that we had in our team was CBA's next. We said, watch CBA, Macquarie moved, CBA will go next. And within a week and a half, CBA moved. Correct. Yeah. And then we said, right, here's what's going to happen next. Most of the other banks will dial out, they'll push out of trust lending. So trust lending will become exclusively a non-bank space. Yeah. Just like self-managed super fund lending is. And again, I want to be very careful here that I'm not firing pot shots. But when your broker only works with 5 or 6 lenders, there's not the depth and breadth of experience that comes with dealing out. I'm up to 28 lenders, I think, 29 this week, year to date. So, I mean, that's going to lenders that we, sometimes never used before or, on a case-by-case basis. But I think this is where, again, I talk about this divide in strategic mortgage broking where people ask why, being top 100 or something to that effect, what's the difference? There'd be very rarely a scenario that comes across my desk that I had not seen before.
Correct. Yeah.
And so when someone rings up and the first thing they say is, man, I've got to tell you, this is very complex. I'm like, give it to me. And I hear it, I'm like, there's an awkward silence. I'm like, sorry, buddy. With all due respect, that's not overly complex. And I think I say in jest, it's almost like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
But you got to understand, mate, we've got 10 years experience, right? In this space, residential, commercial, self-managed super funds, self-employed, construction, renovation.
Oh, look, the pattern recognition is just, it's there for us. And as a top 100 doesn't really mean too much to us. But
I mean, I don't think for most people listening, what does that even mean?
Yeah. But it just shows it because there's volume that we're doing.
Yeah, there's a volume.
But there's recent volume. So we, as a brokerage, however much we write, we can start to notice the trends before they're even happening. And to your point, Aaron, Macquarie pull out straight away. Oh, Macquarie pull out, CBA's next. You already sense it, and you're dealing so much with these lenders, with certain deals. It's quite easy for us to then go, okay, well, where do we go already after this? So recognizing how lenders are operating, their appetite. Yeah, when we're doing volume through them, you get to get an understanding. We're all sharing information around what's going on. And that's why we use so many different lenders, because they've always got an appetite. Someone will have an appetite for a deal. And if, again, not throwing pot shots at brokers, but if you're only looking at 5 or 6 lenders, you are not looking at more. You're looking at enough. Let's just say that.
And the people were asking us, how are you qualified to make that statement that the majority of mortgage brokers only use 5 or 6 lenders? That's industry data. We get told this by our industry that that's the general lender usage by a broker. The other part is we've been trying to recruit for so long. We're always trying to recruit at the moment because to get talent that can do the deep work, the credit analyst work, for example. So we're always trying to recruit within the industry, and we'll bring in brokers for interviews, or we'll bring people that have worked in brokerages. And one of the first questions we ask them is, all right, take me through how many lenders you've been working with in the last, say, 12 to 24 months. And they'll rattle off maybe 3 or 4 names. You worked with you had an interview that had 2 lenders.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And I'm saying, mate, we can't, you can't get a seat here in this gig because you'll get found out so quickly that we're going to here, and you would never have used them before. We're not scared. We're not scared to go to banks. And I think that's where, for us, we have to be brave to lead a client to go, but this is where the outcome that you're looking for is. Yes, you've never heard of this bank, for example, but don't worry, they're lending their money to you. That's the risk, right?
Yeah. And fundamentally, they're all the same. But it's why I don't understand why brokers don't, why it's 5 or 6 brokers industry sort of standard, because it's literally all the same thing. We're analyzing the income. We're finding out if there's money left over for the borrowing power calculations.
Yeah.
There's a checklist that we follow into the documents that need to be provided.
Yeah.
It's a different brand. That's all it is. A different brand and a different number, which is the interest rate.
Correct.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. Yeah. And then even if we come back to, again, user experience, and this is where, and I love it because it's time stamped. I mean, I'd seen Gordon on the property, on the podcast the other day. He asked me, where do you think it's going? I said, mate, best thing I recommend doing is DTI. So that's a debt to income ratio acronym.
Because that came in they had that during COVID.
Yeah.
Remember?
COVID, or just before we jumped on.
That's exactly what I'm going to reference.
Okay.
So I straight away, when they spoke about investor lending, getting up to a point that they were uncomfortable with it.
And when they say they, that's APRA, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And even I see Matt Commons spoke about it.
Yeah, it's banks' internal credit risk ratings as well. So they're looking at it as well, going, we're lending a lot of money to a certain segment.
Yeah.
It's risky to us.
And their their debt to income is high. It's sitting at what's
people are leveraging high.
And
we step out of trust lending. We don't do SMSFs. We're not going to do high loan to value ratios. And you can just start to see one bank moves, they start to follow suit. And it generally just trickles down to that non-bank space. And if you're not well versed in the non-bank space and you don't have great relationships, there's stuff that we can do that we would never have been able to do 2 or 3 years ago. Off the back of relationships, so call them and go, mate, this is the scenario. Here's what's going on. Cool. I'm going to go into bat for you guys because I know you're a good outfit. You do quality loans, for example. And I'm amazed at the moment about how much we're doing outside the box, purely off the back of relationships.
Yeah, it's great. Non-banks are awesome because they are a little bit flexible. Like your standard lenders, your traditional banks, black and white policy is for the same policy for everyone. And I like that as well because it means that you know the outcome before you submit a deal. As long as you know what to submit, you'll get a yes. With the non-bank space, very similar. There's still like a policy that we follow, but they're also open to maybe doing some type of exception to the rule. Like if the deal makes sense, which doesn't happen in the bank space anymore. If the deal makes sense, like you've got a low LVR, the risk to the bank is a lot lower. They'll go, yeah, I can see why we might be able to show the income in a different way to get a higher loan amount.
Yeah.
So, and they're the fun ones, right? Because once we've been doing your bread and butter deals, now we're looking for a bit of excitement.
And I think also just maybe to let your listeners know that, when we're not suggesting at all that you go to a non-bank lender first, like we're always needing
time and place.
There's a time and place, and we're always looking to go to those, those top big 4, those mainstream lenders first, maximize that borrowing there at that point.
At the better interest rate.
At the better interest rates, then there's a time and place.
Correct. I think where I really want to put this on the table is we don't know what banks pay as commissions. In fact, they're pretty much the same, right? So there's never commission breath about us. And I say that quite often in a lot of my new client call, which is, hey mate, we're going to do this work, for example, 0 commission breath about us. That's just how we roll. We don't have to refinance, pretty much to get paid for things. We only do it because we're either stripping equity or because we like to have it under one roof because we do annual reviews on your lending as well. So there is a method to the madness that, we're not just hunting loans to get paid. We're solving problems. And that's what I talk about strategic mortgage broking. We've solved that. That's a big ethos in the team, which is see a problem, solve a problem. Yeah, to entire 7 and 5-year-old.
Yeah, I was just saying, that's what I'm saying to my daughters. See a problem, solve a problem.
The world pays problem solvers.
Be tight.
Yeah, and you're just paying for run-of-the-mill stuff. At some point, it's going to run its course versus actually bringing some value into the equation as well.
And I think just to cap that off, I think what I love about these guys here and the ethos that they're building into the team is there's always a solution. So you could get stuck. They might get a call from bank. Bank might say, can't do it. These guys will never call you and be like, can't do it. Never. I've never heard either one of them say that. They've always thought about it, found a solution, come back to the client, whoever the situation is, with a solution. And that tenacity to go, we will get the best possible outcome for you is a trait that I think is very admirable in both of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Look, it's a best interest duty. We have to find a solution because we have so many lenders. So if someone says they can't find a solution and when you look at 5 lenders, is that really following the best interest duty guidelines?
All right.
I don't think so.
Yeah, when brokers hide behind best interest duty, I'm like, that's just an excuse to not push the envelope. Like, it's a higher rate, but they got the outcome.
Yeah.
That's the best interest. Yeah,
They wanted the property.
yeah, the profits at a skyrocket, which is going to my next point.
What are we trying to achieve?
Yeah, and what's your goal? Like, yeah, that's
Mate, this is my next point, which is if you're not pushing hard enough for 2026, I want you to have a real think about why not. Yeah. Let me ask you guys, I'm going to do a round the grounds check here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the minimum? So I'm referencing the SQM research that has just come out, the Boom and Bust report by Louis Christopher. I actually want to get him on. So if you guys know him, hit him up. I want him to come on and have a chat. He does a few scenarios where he predicts what the market's going to do, all the capital cities across the country, where he thinks, best case, worst case, how it's going to look for price growth. So if I start with Perth, B, what do you think Perth is expected to do next year? And
percentage.
Yep, percentage growth increase. Now, the caveats here are there's a couple of scenarios. Rate cut, potentially, or even if there was no rate cut until late next year. So there's a possibility there could be a rate cut in 2026.
Yeah.
If or when is the question mark.
Okay.
So what do you think Perth is expected to do next year?
I'll say 15%.
Cool. Damien?
I would say between, does he give like the range?
Yeah.
The range? Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Are we in the
She's locked in. All right, definitely.
I'll go between 8 to 12%.
Jeez, now you are run the money here. 8 to 12. The best case, so it's minimum 8%. Best case up to 21%.
Oh, hey, I was too thick. I'm still on money.
Yeah, you're optimistic. Yes.
First Dorish.
Polish look for
Might be best.
Easy, Tiger. All right. Brisbane.
Okay.
You go first this time.
90, put it up by 1. I'd probably say somewhere between 8 to 10% for Brisbane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brisbane, I think 12.
Here we go. 8% up to 18%. So Brisbane's got a lot of juice left in the tank.
For sure, yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. When people see saying, oh, no, it's running out of steam, for example, just go up to Brisbane. It's not.
Every third person I talk to is moving to Brisbane.
No, great.
Well, the other thing that's happening is that all these people who were in Brisbane for the last 10 years are sitting on heaps of equity.
Yeah.
That's the calls I'm having now. It's like, oh, where do you live? And it's like, Kalango, Mango Hill. I mean, when did you buy 10 years ago? And straight away, I'm like, so you've got what? Sitting on 40% LVR. So they're looking to reinvest, and a lot of the time, lenders like to reinvest within their backyard.
Spot on.
Yeah,
Spot on.
So
Why not? Sunny Coast.
All right. Well, we'll get to that part later. All right.
All right.
So, Dollies.
Darwin. I'll go 15% for Darwin.
Oh, back on 15. Okay. Darwin, geez. Guess it's still going to go. It's going, of course. I'll go Darwin because I think they're building anything there. Yeah, between 14 to 18%.
There we go. So worst case 3% or up to 18%.
Okay.
That's a range.
That's even bit before. I mean,
Yeah. So the place owned admission, he missed out on Darwin being a bit of a boom market. Okay.
yeah, fair.
In 25. So I think it's almost covering a little bit of tracks there at
3 to 18. Could have a wide range.
Yeah. And I'm going for like different scenarios. So I'll post this into the chat. So if you're listening here, I will post this. Melbourne, probably one of the most contentious markets, I'd say.
Why so? Contentious for you?
It's polarizing for investors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was land tax and this and that, it's yields. And, has it truly hit the bottom of the cycle and people just trying to sell there? That's kind of the rhetoric that I'm for a lot of investors.
I'll go 5.
It's the play in that. It's the play even that restricted there. The gradually a lot still.
There's still got a lot of land. I mean,
That's why I say it's on track with construction and how.
Yeah. Melbourne, look, I think that the reports are coming out that it's going into a growth cycle. I'm going to go somewhere between, what do you say?
I said 5.
5, 6 to 10.
Oh, you go, mate. Hang on. There's one. Yeah. Scenario 3, 6 to 10.
Yeah.
So Melbourne, 2% up to 11%.
Okay.
Yeah. Sydney?
6 to 8.
Here we go.
Gosh, that was quick.
I feel like I know that one because I've got a house.
7%.
Yeah, it's pretty much, 2% Myanmar, which it'll do easily that. 11% around there is what the expectation is.
Yeah.
Cool. Adelaide.
Oh, Adelaide. Is it a sleeper market or is it just a sleep? I'm going to get Adelaide 2 to 6%.
I'm not really sure what's happening in Adelaide at the moment, so I'm going to say maybe it's got to be 8%, a bit more.
9% up to 18%. Well, it's going.
Opportunity.
God, we're not getting any properties in Adelaide at the moment.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one out of everyone. So Perth, second wind, it looks like.
Yes.
Yeah. Brisbane, pumping.
Yep.
Sydney, Melbourne, moderate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Modest at say 11%.
And it's hard with Sydney to have booms when it's already so high.
Yeah.
Like, see, less than a 2 year is a lot of. Yeah.
But Lloyd.
Interesting one. Still has a lot of, it's quite bullish. Wow. Okay. Hobart?
Okay. So, I just got my first few Hobart contracts.
Okay.
Well, so maybe it was back on.
Oh, who knows? People are speculating everywhere. I'd say Hobart will be if it's Louis, I'm going to say between 4 to 8%.
10?
Yeah, it's ranging 1 up to say 9%.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the capital cities weighted averages are sitting somewhere at that 10 to 14%-ish mark, which, that's some lot of those markets double-digit growth.
That's crazy.
So
it's good, but yes.
If you're a first-time buyer trying to get in, you're going to wait out of the market for 2026. I've really got to empathize or sympathize with you to go, I would not be waiting. You can't
save
that.
No.
So if you've got $1 million asset and the market does 10%, it's $100 grand. Yeah, that's
1.1.
That's huge, right? In terms of $1 million asset. Yeah. And then we go Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, Mackay, and they're all near double digits as well. Yeah. That's Sunshine Coast. Until they'll buy that holiday house up there.
This is his retirement.
Best place in the world. Anyway, besides Wollongong.
Perhaps. We don't want to Wollongong, but yeah.
And then rents.
So I was on the record that Sunshine Coast might be better than Wollongong. I'll go on the record and say Sunshine Coast might be better than Wollongong.
Careful you are, buddy.
I know, God, it's nice up there.
It's nice up there because you're on holidays when you're up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So rents across the board. If we worked out what the capital city average increase could be, what do you think? Can you number?
Rents? Rents thing, please. There's low vacancy rates. That's all it keeps hearing, like in all these capital cities. Brisbane, Perth, the rents are just insane. Darwin, some of the rental yields are strong, very strong. So rental like as a percentage?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really gauged it.
Yeah.
That would increase. But
For you guys?
maybe like 10%. 10%.
Oh, I'm a bit more moderate. I'd say maybe 4% growth.
Yeah, they're saying 5%, 5.2% increase. I mean, the capital city average at that point is $759 for rent.
759. So, oh gosh, it's a lot of money.
I mean, you think about, so if you take the average across the country, 760 human calculator times that by 52 weeks, was that?
No, right.
I didn't know. By like acres. You know what I'm saying? Something like 37 grand.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
So you think 37 grand net is what we're going to be paying on average for rent?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you do.
That's pretty high. Like I feel like that's the average of the capital cities. Oof, that's a lot of rent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so again, into renting, and it's now rent vesting, again, we've spoken about, has its place as well. But if you're renting and you're stuck trying to save for a deposit to get in, the government has literally given you a handball, which is a 5%, no LMI, get into the market. If you're renting and you want to buy, I'm telling you right now, you own the golden window, because at some point next year, the market will flip and it just becomes not out of reach, but it becomes extremely hard if you do not have either family support in the way of guarantors or gifts, or if you're not willing to move to a different location and compromise where you're going to buy. Yeah. My message to you, we'll sit here in 12 months' time and go, mate, all these numbers, double-digit growth across the country on average, rents shot up, people left behind that weren't able to get into the market, and all those investors that bought are licking their lips in 12 months' time.
Yeah. It's amazing how it just keeps on rolling. Deep.
So I've said this a couple of times, but this is off topic, but I've got this wild prediction. Can I put it out there?
Go for it.
In 3 to 4 years' time, my prediction is in every capital city in Australia, you'll not be able to get a home for under $1 million. Like, that's it. I know it's a big call.
Oh, I don't think so, because Brisbane's over $1 million. Sydney's a 2 million median.
Yeah. But think about Darwin, you can still get a home.
Oh, yeah.
So you can still get a home 7 mil. Adelaide, you still can. I don't.
Yeah, Melbourne's just not many. Canberra freestandings, probably nudging close to $1 million, or depending on where you like. Canberra. And then probably an exception there is maybe Tassie.
Yeah.
Tassie, yeah.
Yeah.
But, for some of those other, maybe a mainland locations, I don't see, and it might not be 3-4 years, it might be a bit longer than that, but there's no reason why. There's good incomes that are being earned in those capital cities. There's no reason why those prices can't increase. If you're thinking you can buy 650, 700, 750,000 dollar property in one of those locations, you should see, I really feel like you should see that growth. We've got the income to support it.
But let's put this into perspective. At the start of the year, and we were quite heavily with a lot of buyers agents, yeah? Start of the year, the brief was 450.
Mm-hmm.
Get pre-approved for 450, will get you into a growth market. I'm like, cool.
It's your property.
Now, it's 600 plus.
650.
It's 650.
So you go 450 to 600, it's 150 grand increase in 12 months. Divide that by
60 to 450 to 200?
for 600.
Yeah.
I'm doing my math here.
Yep.
Yeah.
450K entry point. Now it's 600K entry point, 150 grand over 12 months. That's 10K a month. There's not too many clients that I have on my books that are saving net 10 grand a month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
And if they are, they're probably paying their mortgage off as opposed to saving it.
Yeah.
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 So here's the challenge. If you can't outpace the ability to get, if you can't outpace your ability to save, then you've got to be in the market that's compounding. And at some point, this probably is just going to be compounding while you sleep, while you go on holidays, for example. And if you can't punch that ticket and you want to instead go to work and then try and save net income, how about we put that income to work? That's the message that I really want to leave with you is if you're coming out the end of this year, tired, drained, you've left the ball on the field work-wise and you go, oh man, that's slogged my guts out and I might be lucky to get a 3% pay rise and probably increase double-digit. Property is the ticket to compounding wealth beyond your salary as well as the ultimate hedge against your salary. And so many times I've spoken throughout the year that high income earners. And this year I saw it, high income earners who unfortunately lost their jobs and took a long time to, if they got back into the market, at a lower salary figure as well. And I've got to say, if you're on a high income, the greatest risk isn't investing in property. The greatest risk is actually your income. Losing your job. Then a job to be able to be into the market, and the scar tissue that comes with losing a job, the uncertainty, the volatility, cash flow, but 0.7% vacancy rates. These properties are not going untenanted.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. Whereas roles are going unfilled, or roles are hiring freezes, or whatever they've got in some of these big businesses. That's vacancy rates that are right there in corporate. Okay. So I really want to end on a good note. And I think if I can flip this around and say, 1, fortune favors the brave. 2, take some time for strategic planning for your 2026. B and I, we've spoken about vision board. If we look at our vision board, and we'll with our whole team tomorrow, I dare say 80% of that stuff is ticked off.
From this year, yeah.
This year. Dang, how about you?
Yeah, I think so. Surely, I don't know. Find out tomorrow. I look at my vision board, and I normally do tick off for quite a few of those items on there. So I would dare say, yeah.
Yeah, and if you haven't, I would highly recommend you get a vision board. It takes you maybe 10, 15 minutes. Canva can help you out. There's only great tools out there. Just grab Google Images, put it into a Word doc, stick it on the mirror in your bathroom, stick it on your desktop, for example.
If it just created, I create mine and don't look at it, to be honest.
As I was printed out, I kept it on your desk here again.
Don't need to. It's in it. And so, but I create it, I don't even look at it, and then I will review it tomorrow. And so I always amaze myself with how much I've actually achieved on that board.
I think there's
looking at it's also good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's also this time of year, which is really precious, and we do have a bit more time. There's also a little bit of that reflection. So having a look at the vision board, but also just asking yourself, and there's so many questions you can look online, like review my year questions, thinking about, where your energy was spent, how you're feeling, how's your relationships looking, all those elements, that sort of wheel of life review to go, how did I end the year? And spending that time after, Boxing Day or the cricket's on or whatever you do to relax. And then just having a bit of a think about those moments in a year that made it really special, and the moments that you can improve on next year. And setting forth for that vision board planning, I think it's a really wonderful place to end the year on.
I'm glad we brought you on, Bernie. This is sage wisdom. So missed you on the podcast about your wisdom.
And I think then this tying in where we're at the moment, if you've been using like AI, ask AI for a little bit of a review.
Totally.
Oh, Ian, if you want to talk about your recent
I can.
blind spot, yeah.
So I've been
You're far deeper in AI.
I'm far deeper in. So in terms of the blind spots question, okay, all right. So you keep the same thread going. So one of my chats with Chatty G is goals and vision board planning. So I'll put in what the visions or the goals are for the year, and then is this achievable? And then I just thought, hey, why don't I ask it? What are my blind spots? Whew, it came back with some pearlers.
I'm glad ChatGPT gave you that feedback, and it wasn't me.
Well, one of them was like, you've got a tendency to take on a bit much. And then I relayed that to Aaron, and who said, I'm glad you'll listen to ChatGPT.
It needs to be in the
Says there'd be a technology, be someone that you can't actually have an argument back with.
Exactly.
Yeah, goodbye.
But that was a really good takeaway for me, and I feel, but you have to. There's so much about prompting and what you can do. But once you build up a bit of that history, what your values are, what your goals are, what you're looking to achieve, and then once it has more context and more history, it can actually give you a little bit more, hey, like maybe this is your blind spot. So one of the ones that came up for me, which Aaron mentioned, was not celebrating the wins and celebrating the successes. It was like you tend to move on really quickly.
That's the issue for both of us.
That's our nature. It's like, okay, done, great move. We've got 5 more things we need
to go off the list, get it done. And and I think only when we step back at the end of the year and we're probably a little bit exhausted, like, that was great. Awesome. All right. Lock and load for next year.
Lock and load for next year. Get the calendar out, plan all the holidays, get everything sorted. And
it's great. That's why I think if we circle right back to the very start, it's great to have that ambition. It's great to have that goal setting. It's great to have the focus. It's great to be dialed in. And how do we then temper that energy with, okay, during this over 365 days, how do we enjoy the journey? How do we then take that time? And I think, I dare say next year will almost be that time for us that we actually look at the garden and go, oh, we have tended to the garden very well.
Okay, I'm going to...
Not literally, because the garden's a shambles at home.
Garden's an absolute shambles. That's off topic, but can I end with this?
Yes.
So numerology, a bit of my woo-woo for my fans out there. So 2025, 2 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9. 9 as a number is the ending of cycles. It's the completion. So there's a lot of energies coming up for people that's like tying off things with a bow, projects coming to fruition, people entering your life, exiting your life, whatever that might be. And 2026 is, if you add that up, it's the number 1, which is the start of a new cycle. So I want to take everyone in.
I'm just going to fish.
It's 10.
No. Yeah, but 2 plus 2 plus 6 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're adding every...
You add it till you get to your 1-digit number.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Following.
So 2026 hits the new cycle, the new beginning. So just want you guys to go into this year of like looking back over the last 9 years, which is really fitting for us because we've been in business for 9 years. Having a look at what you have achieved. There's that Tony Robbins saying, we often overestimate what we can achieve in a year and underestimate what we can achieve in a decade. What have you achieved in almost your decade? And how can you look forward to 2026, the year one, with happiness and optimism and enthusiasm and all good things?
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. I can't finish any better apart from saying thank you to everyone who's joined us on the journey. If you add up the hours that you've probably invested into listening to this podcast, supporting this podcast, I only hope that I've returned served by bringing you great guests, great conversation, thought-provoking ideas, but most importantly, belief in yourself that, if you think you can do it, you can do it. And the power of that mindset, every one of my episodes, I try to sprinkle a little bit of mindset magic in there to go, this game is won and lost, not on borrowing capacity, but it's what happens between the ears. And I just want to wish you and your families all the very best for a Christmas, New Year break as well. I look forward to working with so many of you in 2026. Thanks very much.